What's up guys, this is the blockchain culture, and today we're talking all about NFTs. Just what are NFTs? NFTs have been taking the crypto world by storm. This picture of Batman sold for $552,603.98. That's right, this piece of digital art just sold for a little over $500,000. That's insane. Now I'm sure you're wondering, can I make bank like that off my artwork? Is there a catch? I'll be going over the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to NFTs, but before I break all this down, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And make sure you hit that notification bell to stay up to date. We drop videos 3 times a week that covers all sorts of crypto news and tutorials. So like I was saying, for the most part, it's just a JPEG. So, how? If it's just a JPEG, then that means it's just an image that can be copied and pasted, emailed, posted online, and replicated infinitely. So then how does this have any value? Well, it's a very special piece of digital art called a non-fungible token, or NFT. The image can be replicated of course, but token can't, making it very rare depending on how many have been minted. The original token can now be bought and sold, and more importantly, collected like fine digital art. If you bought a Rembrandt painting, you know what you're getting, a canvas with some paint on it. What makes that painting special is the guy who put the paint on there was Rembrandt. And the fact that there is only one canvas out there with paint on it, in that particular way, is what makes it rare. Only one person can own it. Over the last year, NFTs have dramatically changed the art world, with some selling for millions of dollars with sales totaling $2.5 billion. It has completely changed the art world. Artists can now turn their precious artwork into very profitable NFTs. About 3 days ago I was reading about this artist named Justin Aversano, who's made over $500,000 by selling his photography of twins as NFTs. I will say, when NFTs first started blowing up, I saw several artists that were very against the idea of NFTs due to energy consumption concerns, which isn't anything new. Bitcoin also recently came under fire for this very same issue. And I get it. For some people, just hearing the word crypto or Bitcoin makes the eyes roll. But if you're making digital art of any kind, you should probably know what NFTs are and what opportunities it can provide for your work, because this could be very lucrative. So, I'm gonna try my best to break everything down, because like I said, this could be very lucrative for any digital artists or there. So, let's jump right in. So let's get back to the basics of basics. NFT stands for non-fungible token. The word fungible means able to replace or be replaced by another identical item. Hence, non-fungible means something original that can't be duplicated once an NFT has made it onto the blockchain. While I'm on the topic of the blockchain, the idea behind it is quite simple. The blockchain is simply a digital record of transactions. It is a list in its simplest form. Someone makes a transaction. A record was made of that transaction on a list. They then spend those coins on something else. A record is made on the list. These records are called blocks, and they are chained together to make a gigantic list. Each record needs to be verified by multiple supercomputers, so one system can't just jump in and invalidate the chain or make stuff up. And this is how crypto like Bitcoin works. Since you can create a digital record of the ownership for money using the blockchain, somebody somewhere came up with the idea of doing this with other things too. And this line of thinking is how the idea of NFTs were born. So now you can track the ownership of these digital pieces of art. The person who owns it can then resell it or license the rights to a museum to display it, or even control the conditions under which it's displayed in, and they control how much they get in royalties as well. Now that we've went over a bit of history, and going to get into how you would convert your own pieces of digital artwork into a NFT. There are websites and marketplaces that allow you to upload your art and then add it to the blockchain and then sell it. Sites like Rarible and OpenSea are probably the most easy to use, with OpenSea having an app available on phones. They're pretty straightforward and easy to use. Keep that in mind if you decide to look at it on those sites. Anyone can upload anything and charge whatever they want. I could literally upload a stick figure for 5 whole bitcoins, so the bar is most definitely set in hell for these sites. If you're more interested in the more professional side of digital art, then there are sites such as Super Rare and Nifty Gateway. These act like more traditional art galleries or dealers curating artists and pieces that they show and that they sell. And this is where established digital artists are making the big bucks. In fact, Christie's, the auction house known for selling really expensive art, They've teamed up with artist Beeple and they're getting ready to auction off his work to a more traditional art audience. This is after Beeple made $3.5 million back in December with an art drop that he did in Nifty Gateway. And it's not just him. Lots and lots of digital artists have been cashing in and making hundreds of thousands of dollars selling their work this way over the last few months. So, if any of what I've been saying has piqued your interest, then stick around because I'm going to do a brief rundown on how to make a NFT on Rarible. Before we get started, I just want to note that it does cost to mint your artwork, so make sure you have some Ethereum in a wallet already. Also, the fees add up pretty quickly, so be prepared to invest in yourself. So, here's the setup page. What you first need to decide is, are you going to sell just one piece or an entire collection? Then you need to decide, are you just going to make one token or several? The less copies there are, the more rare the token is. So, say you as an artist have a following in social media. Now you have people that support you but buying pieces of your art, or they just make donations. So wouldn't it be cool if you made a special piece of artwork in the form of a collectible that your supporters could have? This would be no different from them buying or donating to you because you still profit from this. You can get a commission as an artist as that piece sells. So, maybe you initially sell that piece for $50. You get $50. It goes on your pocket. You just sold it to somebody. And then, over time, you become more well known. Someone wants to buy that piece from the person you initially sold it to. They buy it from a person for a 50 grand. You get a commission from that secondary sale. So, for that secondary sale for a 50 grand, your 10% commission gives you $5,000. And if you continue to get more popular, and that person then goes on to sell that piece of work for $100,000, then guess what? You've just made 10 grand. This would be impossible if you just sold the artwork traditionally, because only the sellers would be profiting of your artwork, which would suck. Could you imagine you sell something to someone for $25, later sells for 100 grand, and all you got was a measly $25? I'd literally die. So I'm sure I have your attention now, but I want to quickly touch on what I was talking about earlier, and that's the price. More specifically, I want to talk about the gas fees, which can be downright atrocious. If you're new to crypto, then just think of gas fees as like a processing fee. And that processing fee can vary based on supply and demand. Now, crypto isn't as high as it used to be a couple of months ago, but it's still pretty high. You can expect to pay anywhere from $70 to $120. A couple of months back, you could have been paying anywhere from $200 to $300, and really large collections going for $600. The fees also depend on the time of day as well. If you are trying to mint during peak hours, then expect to pay top dollar. For lower fees, try to mint early in the morning, especially if it's a weekend. You also need to take into consideration that your buyer is also going to be charged a gas fee to purchase your token. If you are an established artist selling your artwork for hundreds or thousands of dollars, then this price really isn't really a big of a deal. But if your consumer base is used to paying $10 to $20, then they could potentially be paying $60, which might not blow over well. Then you also have to take into consideration how your consumer base feels about cryptocurrency. Remember me talking about how some in the art world hated the idea of NFTs due to energy consumption? Well, the same applies to your consumer base as well. Mining cryptocurrency takes powerful supercomputers that use a lot of energy. Most of the power comes from fossil fuels, and that increased demand also increases the carbon footprint of the entire industry. And as this demand continues to skyrocket, so does that environmental impact, which could be very damaging to the environment in the long run. So, that could be a pretty big deal breaker if you have very eco-conscious buyers. So now that you heard all of this, I'm sure you're asking yourself if this whole NFT thing worth it for me. And honestly, that depends. First, ask yourself if you already have an established consumer base. Then you need to determine the percentage of people that are knowledgeable on crypto. If you already have a pretty good consumer base that is also into crypto, then I say you should just dive into NFTs and see what happens. If you have a consumer base, but that base isn't into crypto, then I'd really weigh my options, because you could end up losing customers depending on how they feel about crypto and NFTs. And lastly, if you're not already established, then NFTs may not be for you. But if you're confident in your work and you have the money to spare, then I say go for it, because you never know. I've wanted to do this video because NFTs are becoming pretty popular, and I know several people who have made thousands just by trading them on apps like OpenSea. I also wanted to make this video for digital artists who keep hearing this word, and are curious on if this would be a profitable venture for them. I think if you're a big named artist with a big following, you could definitely hit the jackpot, but even artists on a smaller scale could end up hitting it big as well. That's pretty much what I know about NFTs. It can definitely be very profitable, but it's only a given if you already have a big name. There are going to be a lot of people rushing to Rarible and OpenSea just because there is money to be made, but I wouldn't set my sights on the big bucks. I do think NFTs are here to stay, and are the next big wave. I think that this is something that changed the art world and the music world as well, because musicians can do the same thing. Kings of Leon will be the first group to sell an album as a NFT. NFTs have created a legitimate way to collect digital art. If this is something that interests you, then I would definitely do some more research before diving in headfirst, because again, like I stated earlier, if you aren't already big, then this isn't some sort of get-rich-quick scheme. You're still going to have to put in the work to make quality art, and market that art to the right audience. Yes, there are stories of pictures of memes selling for outrageous prices, but those are outliers. A sort of lightning in a bottle, if you will. But I still think there is money to be made at the end of the day if you play your cards right. So, I want to know what you guys think of NFTs. Do you like this idea, or do you think this is all just a get-rich-quick fad? Let me know down below what you think in the comments, and I'll do my best to respond to everyone. I really reading everyone's thoughts. See you guys in the next video.